Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is Hartley Homestead. If you're new here, my name is Kevin, and today's episode I wanted to do a one-year review on my John Deere 1025R. Had it just a little over a year and have about 90 hours on it, so I thought I would just start in the back of the tractor and work my way up towards the front. Show you some of the features and also things, that I like, or other things that maybe they could improve on. Starting in the rear here, you have your typical 3-point hitch. You can check the hydraulic fluid level back here. And one thing that's a little bit of a challenge with the cab on it is the lever that lifts the 3-point up and down is located in the cab. I know that some of the larger tractors start to have a lever in the rear here to help raise and lower the 3-point hitch if you're trying to, hook up to attachment. So, I mean, it would be nice if it would have a lever like that in the rear, but again, I understand that most people, if you have a 1 series tractor like me, you're not going to be doing a lot of heavy duty farming with it anyway. But I did add this hitch receiver, and that way I can hook up a hitch and move trailers, things around like that around the yard. Moving up to the rear tires, so these I had them add rim guard for weight. Looks like about each tire has about 8 gallons of that fluid, and it, adds about an 87 pounds per tire. The fronts are not loaded. What I would like to do is also buy the yellow John Deere wheel weights. One thing with the cab, I do notice that it's feels a little more top heavy, and the more weight that you would have in the rear, I think would help, offset that a bit. So that is a future plan. So moving on to the cab itself, this is a Mauser cab, and it was designed by a small company and is the only cab that is recognized by John Deere as a quote-unquote factory cab. The cab is installed typically at the dealership. Mine was installed that way. I could have had the dealership add lights, rear working lights. I got this on Amazon for a few dollars, and I actually just have it run in the cab and power it by, a cigarette lighter outlet. These lights are originally found on the roll cage of the 1025R. So they repurpose these. That's also the same for the front lights here, are typically found, if you didn't have the cab, the work lights are mounted right here, so they reuse them on the cab. The cab has left and right side mirrors. I typically keep those folded in. I haven't found much of a use for them, just in the yard, but would be handy, especially if you were going down the road with it. Here is your fuel gauge. It does have low and high range speed. it does have a differential lock. If you push that down, it'll lock the rear axle. Seat will flip forward without touching a latch. I did add a small tool bag to carry back here. One is a screwdriver, which I'll get to as we move towards the front of the tractor, what I need that for. One wish list, overall the Mauser cab, it does have a good design to it. As I used it though, you can see here there's a vent here and one right here, and that will blow air on your windshield. One thing I would like to see them add for future cabs is actually at least one vent back here, and that would help keep the rear window from fogging up. In the northern climates, you know, especially after dark, it's just too hard to keep the rear window from steaming up. So what I did is just found an automotive, they say a defroster, but it doesn't kick enough heat out to, you know, melt ice. It will help it from fogging up though, so that was helpful. I added a fan, again, not standard with the cab, but warmer weather is handy to have. This cab does not have air conditioning. That is not something offered currently with the Mauser cab. Maybe in the future they'll find a way to offer that as well. But most importantly was heat for me. The older I get and the more I'm out in the cold, I hurt more. So it's been nice to have this heat. Here is your fan speed, low and high. Up here is you can have heat or just outside air, just like a vehicle. This other switch here runs your wiper blades, and if you push it all the way in, you can see that little opening out here. It will spray wiper fluid up on your windshield. Over here is your loader control. Pull it back to raise the boom, push down to lower. Bring it into the left, you'll curl the bucket up, and tip it out right will dump the bucket. Here's your throttle, your PTO engagement switch, headlight switch here. Up in here it does give your RPMs, temp, and here will read out your hours. Now I did mention that it doesn't have air. What you can do is the front windows and the rear windows will open up, they flip open. So one thing, there is a warning that if you're going to be running the loader, do not have this front windshield out. There's been guys shatter this window due to your leveler rod out there. The rear window will also unlock and flip open, and these both doors you can actually remove, similar to how Jeep doors are removed. You just unhook this cylinder and they'll actually pop out of the hinges here. It also has a little dome light. It does have 2 spots for speakers. I think they We'll take any standard 4-inch diameter speakers. Let me come around to the other side, and I'll show you where they typically mount the radio. Again, I could have had the factory include a radio, but I was kind of in a hurry about a year ago to get this. So I've seen them where the radio is either mounted in here or back on here somewhere. So never know, I may add that and then include it in a future video. You can remove the top if you have to maintain anything under the headboard. I believe these knobs here will unscrew and the top will come off. Pedal forward, pedal reverse. This will either put it in or out of 4-wheel drive. Here's the lever to control up and down of your rear 3-point hitch. Cigarette lighter, or the 12-volt outlet that I run either the accessory lights or the fan or the heater. But overall, I really do like the cab. Again, it's just so nice to have heat when it's so cold out. They will lock. I've found that during the winter time, cold, icy, if you're going to get freezing rain, this type of lock does not like moisture, and they tend to freeze shut. So I tend to leave it unlocked during the winter. Moving forward, I had mentioned earlier that I carry a screwdriver with me. The main reason is right here. Now, the older models of the 1025R, I heard had a latch for the hood. In 2019 or the 2020 model, they decided to add this little push button, and you can't get at it without, you know, having something to push in there and hit that latch. I don't really know why they did that, unless it was some sort of a theft deterrent because the battery sits up front there. That might be. This bucket is a quick attach, so you pull out the snap ring, and this will actually unhook pretty quickly. I did add these 2 bolt-on bucket hooks. Find that handy for wrapping a chain around something, especially like logs, pulling them along or anything else tends to be quite handy. So that is about the overview of the tractor. Overall, I've been very happy with it. I started out with a Kubota BX 2370, and it did its purpose. You know, I liked it. Upgrading to the John Deere 1025R, I did that. Biggest reason was for the Mauser cab, and that was, you know, the John Deere offered that. Kubota, I think there's some other aftermarket cabs you can get for it, but I opted to go with this. The other neat advantage, and kudos to the engineers at John Deere, is every grease zerk on the loader itself, they're all on the side, very, very easy to get at. My Kubota BX at the time, many of the grease zerks were hid. I found myself having to reposition the loader, different angles, just to get at all of them. So that was a really great upgrade to see when I switched to John Deere, was the easy to get at grease zerks. The fuel cap, now that is a little harder to get at with a cab on it. A few times I've overfilled it and spilt diesel fuel down the side. So what I did is invested in it's just an electric battery operated fuel pump, and I will be doing a review on that as well. And it's got like an auto shut off, so we'll see how well that does. But overall, again, I really did like the John Deere. I still do, and happy that I went with it. I think I covered everything that I wanted to. Just double checking my notes here. Again, as always, thank you so much to all of our subscribers. We are over 330 at this time. Again, we will be doing a 500 subscriber giveaway and then a 1,000 subscriber giveaway. So if you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so. Please hit that like button, share them with your friends. It really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And we'll catch you on the next one.